everyone, my name is Peyton. I work at Rackets Runners, and we just had our first rainy day of the upcoming fall season, so I thought this would be a good time to jump in and take a look at all of the waterproof options we have, especially since there is more rain to come, especially here in Vancouver, and for the fall and winter and spring seasons. So pretty much all of the shoes that we carry are waterproofed by Gore-Tex. The only brand that we carry that isn't waterproofed by Gore-Tex is On, and On uses its own formula. So let's sit down and chat about how Gore-Tex works and why it is used in running shoes. So you've probably heard of Gore-Tex before. It is a company that makes a specific type of waterproof material. Arc'teryx, North Face, New Balance, Brooks, Patagonia, a lot of these outdoor activewear brands will use Gore-Tex for their waterproofing just because it saves them on the R&D costs on their end. And since it is a well-known brand, it also increases a lot of customer confidence in using a product that has Gore-Tex in it as well. So how does Gore-Tex work? The idea of Gore-Tex for sportswear is that it keeps water out, but they try to make it as breathable as possible so the products don't get too warm, and so as you're working out, they can breathe as well. Essentially how it works is that they have holes in the material that are small enough that water droplets can't permeate into the shoe or clothing, but the holes are big enough that water vapor particles are smaller than water droplets, that the water vapor and heat of the shoe can still perspire out of the shoe. This is a great option, especially for exercise wear, just because while the golden standard for waterproofing is going to be something like a rain boot where it is entirely artificial material or plastic all around that water can't get in at all, those types of shoes can also be uncomfortable and they are not breathable at all. So Gore-Tex is a good compromise in keeping your feet dry, but letting them breathe a little bit as well so they don't get too hot. Runners made with Gore-Tex allow you to have that comfortable feeling of a running shoe, whether it's walking your dog through dewy grass, if you're running in rainy conditions, or if you're having to commute through a slushy environment to work. All of these help keep your feet dry through the rainy and winter seasons. Some companies like On don't use Gore-Tex, the brand, for their waterproofing. Instead, they do their own R&D to make their own waterproofing material, but the idea on how those waterproof materials work is very similar to the Gore-Tex, so they're very comparable. So I was gonna wait until it rained so I could show you guys the shoes in the rain, but it did not want to rain in Vancouver by the time I needed to make this video. So I found some puddles because it rained last night while I was asleep. So we'll do some road tests of the waterproof Gore-Tex of the Go 17 and the Gore-Tex Hero by New Balance as well, and see how they turn out. I'm wearing white socks and the puddles look quite muddy, so it'll be pretty obvious if they actually are Gore-Tex or not. So let's take a look. Okay, not quite a run test, but here I have the white Gore-Tex Go 17s by Brooks. Let's see how they do. Slishy splashing. You can see the water is just falling off and beating off the shoe. Obviously, if I get it around my socks, like right here, like I'm gonna get wet there, but so far, feet are dry, toes are dry. All right, guys, take 2 of the puddle test. I have the New Balance Heroes in Gore-Tex here, as you can see right now, because my ankles aren't near the water, but all of my feet that are underwater, all of that mesh-looking material in this muddy water is not getting dirty, so that's pretty impressive. Just like the Ghost, the water is beating off. It's not soaking into the shoe at all. My feet are completely dry, so they're all going to have similar levels of waterproofing, which, as you can see here, I was pretty much up to here in water, and my feet are completely dry. The shoes are clean, even though the water was muddy. So yeah, 10 out of 10 would recommend some waterproof runners. So let's talk some of the pros and cons of a Gore-Tex runner. The pros of these are that they're very lightweight and they do keep your feet dry, and you can still get all of the benefits of a very well cushioned running shoe that just also happens to also be waterproof as well. So waterproof runners are going to be perfect for people like us Vancouverites, where it's, you know, raining and drizzling for 7 months out of the year. It's going to be great for people who live in slushy conditions. It's going to be great for people who like to run outside, rain or shine. It's going to be great for people who like walking in the mornings or walking their dogs in the morning and the grass is all dewy. And it's going to be great for people who are traveling and going to be on their feet quite a bit in rainy conditions. That being said, being a bit more realistic, if you're going to be running in the rain, you're going to be running in the rain for a long time. And while the material on the upper of the shoe is going to be waterproof, it's nice and sealed even along the tongue so water can't get in. If you're outside for a long time and it's raining really hard and you're not wearing like a long raincoat or you're not wearing long waterproof pants that kind of cover your ankle here, water will run down your legs and enter the shoe here. Your toes are still gonna stay dry, but kind of around your ankle can get a little damp. So again, like you just have to mitigate expectations on how much a shoe that ends at your ankle can do at keeping water out. You can't go like hiking in these types of shoes and then wade through creeks like you can with some hiking boots, and some hiking boots go up higher. Again, these are not rain boots, but your toes and most of your foot should stay pretty dry. Other thing you have to think about with waterproof shoes is when they say breathable, they're more breathable than like a rain boot or like a ski boot. They're not going to be as breathable as a normal mesh runner. Although they do breathe a little bit, again, when you're trying to get the best of both worlds, aka the feel of a running shoe plus the waterproof of a rain boot, you do compromise in some areas. I have quite a few runners who will actually go for a non-waterproof shoe, a normal running shoe, because they are buying it specifically for running and they don't want their feet to get too hot while they're running and they don't mind their feet getting wet. Where I find the waterproofing is most beneficial is for when people are out, like if they're going hiking or if they're using it as an everyday shoe, a dog walking shoe, a commuting shoe. So overall, you can't go jumping through puddles or wading through creeks and be surprised that your feet are getting wet if you're wearing a waterproof runner. So before I dive into all of the waterproof shoes that we carry at Rackets and Runners, I do want to give a quick bit of fit advice because it's pretty universal for all Gore-Tex shoes. Gore-Tex shoes are built with the same base model as the non-Gore-Tex version of the shoe. So for example, here I am holding the New Balance 880 Gore-Tex. You can see it has the Gore-Tex labeled there. So it uses the same base model. The Gore-Tex is an extra layer of material. So the sizing is not adjusted for there being more material. I would say across the board, pretty much everybody who like normally wears the non-waterproof version of the shoe go up half a size in the Gore-Tex version. All right, now that we've covered everything we need to know about waterproof runners, let's take a look and see what exactly we carry in store that's waterproof. Overall, there's no brand new shoes that are only waterproof. All of the waterproof runners are just waterproof versions of normal running shoes. So a lot of these are going to sound very familiar. It's just going to have Gore-Tex tacked on to the end of this. Just like non-waterproof shoes, the first step in figuring out which shoe you should get is figuring out what type of shoe that you are looking for. So first off, we're going to take a look and see what road runners that we have. Our neutral road runners are going to be our New Balance 880, our Brooks Ghost, our Mizuno Wave Rider, and our Hoka Clifton. This one is a little bit more in the maximalist category, but this is the only maximalist-esque shoe that we carry, at least that's waterproof. So the Brooks Ghost 17 and the New Balance 880 version 15, both of these are the Gore-Tex versions of the shoe. We carry two different colors in the Ghost 17, so I have the white one, but it also comes in all black as well, which is nice for the mud. The main differences between these shoes is that the cushioning in the New Balance 880 is going to be a little bit softer, a little bit more plush than the Ghost. The Ghost is very well cushioned, but I find it to be a little bit firmer. So this one's also a little bit more responsive, whereas this one's a little bit more plush. Other shoes in this category is going to be the Mizuno Wave Rider Gore-Tex. Same idea as these shoes, using Mizuno's dual cushioned technology that offers you both responsiveness and plushness now wearing these shoes. I find that the Wave Rider works really well for people who have a narrower heel in comparison to their forefoot. Then last but not least in this category, it's an honorary mention in this category because it's a little bit more of a maximalist shoe, but the Hoka Clifton Gore-Tex. This is They're doing the Gore-Tex version still only in last year's version of the Clifton. So this is technically the Clifton 9 in Gore-Tex, while in the non-Gore-Tex shoe they are on the Clifton 10. But the idea of this shoe is that it has a bit more cushioning, it has a lower heel drop than the rest of the shoes I just mentioned, and it has more of a rocker than the shoes I just mentioned. Unfortunately, in the waterproof running shoes, there aren't very many width options, but in the neutral road runners, the two shoes that do come in a wide is going to be the New Balance 880 and the Mizuno Wave Rider. So we carry both of these in wides. While in the past, there weren't really any Gore-Tex shoes made in the support road runner category, this year we do have two supportive road runners. We have the Brooks Adrenaline 24 in Gore-Tex, and then we also have Asics's GT 1000. So both of these are support runners. So if you pronate or you need a little bit of arch support and you want a waterproof runner, these are going to be the ones in that category. While both of these shoes are supportive, they're fairly mild supports. So if you need quite a bit of support, you would probably want to go with a neutral runner with your own insert or orthotic. All of them are orthotic friendly, rather than these, because that's going to give you a little bit more support. If you just need a little bit of support, these are going to be wonderful. Okay, so now that we've gone through our road runners, let's take a look at our trail runners that are waterproof. First, we'll start out with our more responsive trail runners. To start out in this category, we have the Brooks Cascadia 19 in Gore-Tex, and I don't have them quite yet, but I am going to be having the Saucony Peregrine 15 in Gore-Tex. We haven't received our shipment of them as of this video, but they're going to be very similar to the previous version, and I do have one left over. So I brought a Saucony Peregrine 14 in Gore-Tex to take a look at. It's gonna feel similar, but it'll look a bit different. The cushioning of these trail runners is going to feel more firm and dense compared to a road runner, just because the line of thought with the trail runners is that you want a stiffer cushioning system to help give you stability when you're running, especially since the surface is going to be more uneven than pavement, and the surface that you're going to be running along in the trails is going to be softer than running on pavement. If you need a little bit of a narrower fit, I would say go with the Saucony Peregrine. None of the trail runners come in a narrow, especially in the waterproof ones. So if you normally wear narrow sizes, you're probably going to have the highest likelihood of success with the Peregrine. Some of the other trail runners that we carry are going to be the New Balance Hero in Gore-Tex, as well as the Hoka Speed Goat in Gore-Tex. Personally, I have a lot of experience with the New Balance Hero. I have a pair of the non-waterproof ones, so I'm really excited to try out the waterproof ones. Again, I did go up half a size, so keep that in mind. I personally prefer a more cushioned shoe even in my trail running, so I would say feel-wise, the New Balance Hero is the most cushioned out of all of the trail runners in my opinion. The Hoka Speed Goat is a little bit more in that almost maximalist style category that Hoka tends to go for. It has quite a bit of cushioning through here, but again, this is very firm, and to me it felt more firm compared to the New Balance Hero. I will say the Speed Goat, something to think about is, like, personally I notice when I put it on, it feels like a very shallow shoe. A lot of my intense trail runners really like the Speed Goat because it fits them like a glove. For me personally, I like a little more volume in my shoe, which is why I like the New Balance Hero. So that's something to keep in mind when thinking about these shoes, especially, again, since they're Gore-Tex, they fit tighter. An honorable mention in the trail runner category is the On Cloud Surfer Trail. Off the bat, I was really surprised that this was a trail shoe. So if you take a look at the bottom, slugs are not that intense compared to a lot of these other trail runners. So while this is in the trail category, I would consider this more of a road to trail shoe. So this is really good if you're starting out at your house, you're running on the roads a bit, to a park to run on the trails for, and a park where you don't necessarily need a ton of grip. Oh, before I move on, the trail runners that come in a wide in waterproof are going to be the New Balance Heroes and then the Hoka Speed Goats. We carry both of these shoes in wide. So getting into more of the hiking category, these are going to be more of that hiking boot style. They're not traditional hiking boots. They're more trail runners that are more robust with more ankle support is the way I would think about it. First, we have the New Balance Hero Mid. It has the exact same base as the New Balance Hero that I showed you earlier. And again, this is waterproof, but it does come up to around your ankle to give you more ankle support. And then I also have the Hoka Kaha. Same idea as the New Balance Hero. It just gives you more support around your ankle, and they are more robust and heavier shoes compared to the trail runners. Last but not least, let's take a look at our more casual waterproof shoes. So here I have the On Cloud 6 in waterproof. The reason why I call this a casual shoe as opposed to a runner is because to me personally, I don't think it has enough cushioning throughout the bottom of the shoe and structure along the bottom of the shoe to support people on longer distances, but it is phenomenal for traveling and as an everyday shoe because it's stylish. It's nice that it's a slip-on, although they come with laces, so you can change it into a lace-up shoe if you'd like, and they're super light, so a lot of people like that as well. I have had people who do run in them, so if it works for you for running, go for it. But overall, I would say this is a little bit more in that casual category. Last but not least, but I had to gather a lot of shoes for today, and it didn't make it into my bag of shoes, is the Hoka Transport. I'll have Luca insert a picture here. But essentially what it is it is more of that casual shoe. It's almost in the road to trail category because the lugs along the bottom of the shoe aren't as intense as some of the other trail runners we looked at. And then the fit of the shoe, it doesn't lock down the way a trail runner does, which is why I have it in the casual category. It's a really good traveling and walking shoe and commuting shoe. It's not going to be the best for running in, but it's nice looking and it's waterproof. And again, it doesn't have that runner look that a lot of these other ones do. So those are all the waterproof shoes that we carry. If you're interested, come visit us in store to try them on or check them out at racketsrunners.ca.